let me just get this out there and say, regardless of what I think of Fox, and that's very little, I would say that we want, as a society, to have as many viewpoints as possible on the air. So it's not necessarily a good thing when you see maybe the FCC entertaining some ideas of taking certain networks off. But we do have certain rules that are in place. The rules were sort of changed back in the 1980s to allow for a little bit more flexibility in terms of opinion. Well, some people now want those rules to change again so that they can get certain viewpoints off the air. And that viewpoint would include, of course, Fox. Probably would include Newsmax or anybody else who kind of stepped out of line, if you would, as well. But let me share with you something that Reed Hunt, he was the head of the FCC under Bill Clinton, said. He's referring, of course, to the Dominion stuff with Fox. And he said these licenses, these are the broadcast licenses that Fox has, these licenses are supposed to be held only if you serve the public interest. Intentionally lying doesn't serve the public interest. And he's referring, of course, to the Dominion suit, et cetera, and everything that came out and the text messages back and forth. Well, let me just say, intentional lying definitely doesn't serve the public interest, which is one of the reasons why you actually do need more networks, because I do recall another network or two or three, how many do they control? Lying about that Hunter Biden laptop, trying to insist that it was somehow misinformation, when in fact it was not. And those that actually reported on it as a serious story were penalized, including the New York Post having its Twitter account shut down. So let's never forget that. Anyway, Fox has enough trouble, right? You get the ratings situation ever since Tucker left, and then you get all these legal troubles. I mean, hey, they're not out of the woods, because they just settled with Dominion for nearly $1 billion, and now they got to deal with Smartmatic, who's looking for even more money. So this is a company that is indeed on the edge. I mean, I couldn't believe they settled. I think it's a bad thing, frankly, for journalism. But clearly Dominion must have had something indeed. And it makes you wonder, does it not, whether or not that had anything to do with, in fact, Fox parting ways with Tucker Carlson. Because, again, this FCC stuff and these broadcast licenses that could come back to haunt the company. In other words, the FCC is allowing you to broadcast. Well, they don't have to worry about that, frankly, with cable, right? Because cable doesn't need those licenses. And they don't have to worry about it with streaming, because, in streaming, you don't need any specific kind of license. But in broadcast news, of which they still have a lot of stations, right? Broadcast networks, when they have those affiliate deals, they need to have that approval from the federal government. And so if that was at all in jeopardy, I could see a situation, right, where management is like, oh, we're going to cut the cord. We're going to cut the cord with this guy and that one, and Dan Bongino and Lou Dobbs. Oh, Trish Regan, because, she said what everyone was thinking about how we should not shut down the economy in the middle of COVID and not overreact, because there was a whole set of economic danger signals that would come with that, right? So hate to say I told you so. Anyway, I do think that this is a company, I just say this as somebody who watches the market, that I would be very wary of investing in part because of not just what happened with Dominion, but what is coming with Smartmatic, and then, of course, this whole FCC thing. I don't like it. Trust me, I don't like it. And I really don't like this. But this is a group of people that are very angry at Fox, including actually kind of a never-Trumper guy, Bill Kristol. Anyway, he said, and I quote from this letter that they sent to the FCC, Rupert and Lachlan, they have this authority for all the decision-making at both Fox News and Fox Station Group, and they are not of the proper character, effectively. The idea is you have to have the proper character in order to have these broadcast licenses, and they're making the point that they have this giant scope, and we know that they don't have the proper character because of the whole Dominion thing, et cetera, et cetera. So they filed this letter, and they're trying to get a hearing to see whether or not Fox should be able to continue its licenses. This is a company that is certainly facing a whole series of problems. Not just the fact that they fired Tucker, their main star, and he went over there and did some little interview with Donald Trump, which scored, what's it up to now, guys? Some 250 million views versus 12.8 million Nielsen views there on the regular old TV screen. The world is changing. That's the other thing that's so problematic for a company like Fox, and frankly, not to pick on them, but any cable company right now. MSNBC has the same issue. CNN has the same issue. If they can't stream, if they can't go direct to you like I am right now, and they can't because of all these cable agreements, they become sort of superfluous in that they become a very much dying industry, a dinosaur in which they're not going to see the same kind of growth potential as all the other guys, including all of us over here. By the way, quick reminder, if you have not subscribed, do me that favor. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. It's really, really important. Love having you here, as I said. Hey everyone, Trish Regan here. If you enjoyed that clip, please do me the favor of subscribing to the channel. Just hit that little subscribe button right over there. Did I do that right? Not quite, but you know where it is. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so that you get the alerts, and I'll see you back on the show.